जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय। जय किशोर किशोरी जय किशोर किशोरी, जय किशोर किशोरी जय किशोर किशोरी। जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा। प्रभुपाद Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajagacharya Stottra Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravindra Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada की ब्रह्म मध्व गौड़ीय संप्रदाय आचार्य गुरुवर की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. So Hare Krishna, we will be serving Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam today in chronological order. Today's verses are from Canto 10, Chapter 62, that is entitled The Meeting of Usha and Aniruddha, and the verses are 15 and 16. So the verse that is displayed on the board is verse number 15. So we can all kindly repeat. Tam ham mrugaye kantam payayitva dharam madhu क्वापि यताः स्पृहायतिम् क्षिप्त्वा माम व्रजिनार्णवे तं हम मृगये कान्तम् पाययित्वा धरं मधु क्वापि यातः स्पृहयन्तीम् क्षिप्त्वा माम व्रजिनार्णवे तं हम मृगये कान्तम् पाययित्वा धरं मधु क्वापि यातः स्पृहयतिम् क्षिप्त्वा मां व्रजिनार्णवे. तमहं मृगये कान्तम् पाययित्वा धरं मधु Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Word to word meaning, kindly repeat. Tam, him. Aham, I. Mrugaye, am seeking. Kantam, lover. Payayitva, having made drink. Adharam, of his lips. Madhu, the honey. Kwa api, somewhere. Yataha, has gone. Sfruhatim, hankering for him. Shiptva, having thrown. Mam, me. Vrijina, of distress. Arnave, in the ocean. Translation, please repeat. It is that lover I search for. After making me drink the honey of his lips, he has gone elsewhere, and thus he has thrown me, hankering fervently for him, into the ocean of distress. The next verse I will read it, and those who have it on their phones, your smartphones, you can also follow. We will just repeat it once. Chitralekha vacha Vyasanam te aparakshami Trilokyam yadi bhavyate Tamaneshyevaram yaste Manoharta tam adisha. Word to word meaning. Chitraleka uvacha. Chitraleka said, Vyasanam, distress. Te, your. Apakarshami, I will take away. Trilokyam, within the three worlds. Yadi, if. Bhavayate, he is to be found. Tam, him. Anesye, I will bring. Varam, husband to be. Yaha, who. Te, your. Manaha, of the heart. Harta, the thief. Tam, him. Adisha, please point out. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Chitralekha said, I will remove your distress if he is to be found anywhere in the three worlds. I will bring this future husband of yours who has stolen your heart. Please show me who he is. Purport. Interestingly, the name Chitralekha indicates a person skilled in the art of drawing or painting. Chitra means excellent or variegated, and Lekha means the art of drawing or painting. Chitralekha, as described in the following verse, will now utilize the talent indicated by her name. So going back to the 15th verse, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये शृण्वन्ता स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तनम् हृदयन्तस्त भद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी आराध्यो भगवान् व्रजेश तनयस् तद्धाम वृंदावनम रम्या काचिदुपासना व्रजवधुवर्गे न तया कल्पिता श्रीमद् भागवत पुराणयमलं प्रेम पुमार्थो महान् श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभोर्मतैदं नायत्रयाग्रह परः आजानुलंबितो भुजो कनकायवधातो संकीर्तनै पितरवो कमलायताक्षो विश्वम्भरो द्विजवरो युगधर्मपालो वन्दे जगत्प्रियकरो करुणावतारो कदाचित् कालिन्दी तटविपिन संगीततरवो मुदा वीरिनारी कमल स्वाद मधुप रमा शंभु ब्रह्मा गणेशार्चित पादो जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी भवतु मे यस्या प्रसादात् भगवत् प्रसादो यस्य अप्रसादान्न गति कुतोऽपि दयांस्तु वां यस्य स्त्रिसन्ध्यां वन्दे गुरोः श्रीचरणारविन्दं वन्दे गुरोः श्रीचरणारविन्दं वन्दे गुरोः श्रीचरणारविन्दम्. So my hundreds of obeisances to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada and our Gaudiya Acharya were to all the assembled devotees, Vaishnavas at the temple and online. May the words that emanate from my mouth be pleasing to our acharyas and the listeners. Hare Krishna. Tamaham mrigaye kantam payayitva dharam madhu kwapi yataha swayatim shipta mam vrajir arnava. Verse number 15th of the 10th canto, chapter number 62. So, very quickly, uh, I would like to recap the events of this chapter, summarize them. That way, uh, those listeners who may not have the continuity, the prasanga or the leela, the event or the events will fall in place. So this chapter is entitled the meeting of Aniruddha and Usha. And uh, actually, Usha is the daughter of a demon known as Banasur. And who is Banasur? Excuse me. Hari Hari. Banasur is the eldest son amongst the 100 sons of Bali Maharaj. And he was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. And Banasur was so much, even because of him being a great devotee of Lord Shiva, he was even respected by all the Devi Devtas, by the demigods. And even Lord Indra, the king of heaven, would serve him. Banasura, it is said that once performed a lot of austerities to please Lord Shiva. And how did he do that? He played the musical instruments. He had about 1,000 hands, and he continuously, non-stop, he played those instruments. And on the nad or the tal of the instruments, Lord Shiva, on that rhythm, he performed the Tandav Nritya. And Lord Shiva's Tandav Nritya is something that doesn't end in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Once he goes into ecstasy, it continues for a long time. Sometimes we find that when there is an ecstatic kirtanya in the temple, and once he is in that ecstatic mood, he can continue for a long time without a break. But sometimes the players can get tired, and we find that the mridang players also switch. But here, it was a great austerity to play the instruments when Lord Shiva was dancing, and that too with 1,000 hands. So Lord Shiva was very pleased, because the pleasure of the Vaishnava, or the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, is very important when we perform any activity. Uh, so, for example, when we are performing kirtan, then it is not for the pleasure of ourselves, the kirtanya or the accompaniment. It is for the pleasure of the Vaishnavas and as the pleasure of the Lord. With that consciousness, if we perform any activity, then it takes, there is a purity in it. But the moment we think that whatever activity we do, whether it is cooking or cleaning or kirtan or katha, we are doing it for our sense gratification or for our name and fame, then we have actually failed for the real purpose. So, seeing his sincerity, Lord Shiva blessed him. He said that, ask me for a boon and I will grant it to you. And Banasura asked Lord Shiva to become the guardian of his city. Now, interesting enough, um, Banasura is the grandson of Bali Maharaj, and Bali Maharaj is the grandson of Prahlad. Now, Bali Maharaj also, Krishna was so pleased with him that he also became a guardian of his Rasatal city. So we see that there is some kind of but the difference is that Bali Maharaj had, uh, uh, his devotion was unparalleled compared to Banasura. And Banasura had to ask, like, become my guardian. Like, how can you ask service actually from a very, very exalted Vaishnava? But Lord Shiva had said that I'll give you a benediction. So, to its true word, he did become the guardian of his kingdom. And one day, Banasura felt the urge of battle. He was extremely strong. It is said that he had the strength of 10,000 elephants. And uh, when somebody has got some quality, and if it is not properly used in the proper consciousness, then there is a lot of false ego. Supposing if somebody is extremely beautiful or handsome, then they feel that, oh, I'm the best. Or somebody can sing well or cook well, oh, I'm the best. And that false ego kind of surpasses everything. So similarly, Banasur, due to his strength and being a devotee of Lord Shiva and favored by Lord Shiva, he said that, my Lord, I would like to, you know, ensure battle with you, because there is nobody qualified to fight me. Just see the arrogance of Banasur. So Lord Shiva was extremely upset. Just like a guru is extremely upset. Guru means what? Heavy. One of the meanings of guru means one who removes darkness, and guru also means one who is heavy. So, when necessary, a true spiritual master will never always be sweet. If there is a reason for a disciple to be chastised, then immediately he will chastise for the good of the disciple. Like Srila Prabhupada, many occasions he used to chastise many of his disciples. Uh, but it was not out of false ego, it was out of compassion for the improvement of that particular devotee's false ego to transform and become Krishna conscious, not self conscious. So here Banasura was self conscious and he challenged in a challenging tone. So Lord Shiva became very extremely upset and he said, "You know what? Very soon you will find your match. I'm not even going to grace you with a battle, but very soon you will find a match to for your desire to fight because you think that you're invincible." So it is said that Banasura had a daughter and her name was Usha. And she, in her dreams, once had an encounter with a lover. She dreamt that she is uh, making love to a lover in her sleep. And several nights in a row, this occurred. So it was just not one night, but several nights. Until one night, she failed to see him in his dreams. Uh, so she became extremely upset. She suddenly awoke and she spoke aloud, "Where are you? Where are you?" In that state of agitation. And when she noticed that her maid servants were around, she felt embarrassed. Because suddenly somebody wakes up from the sleep and talks about some romantic things and calling out the lover. And then when there's somebody else in the room, then one becomes naturally becomes embarrassed. Now, Usha had one Sakhi or a friend by the name Chitralekha. And she asked her who this person, Chitralekha asked Usha, who this person is that you are dreaming about. So Usha confided in her. Chitralekha was a very good friend, and that's what friends are for. You know that you have to confide. That's what Vaishnavas are also like that. What are the 6 different exchanges between Vaishnavas? Dadati, Pratigrinati, right? One of the things is that you reveal your heart to a qualified Vaishnava. Sometimes we also find that we have certain experiences in our spiritual life. We should not advertise it to anybody and everybody, for we can be mistaken, right? As sentimentalist, or maybe we can be mistaken as, oh, he thinks or she thinks she is a pure devotee. So we have to be very careful who we reveal our even spiritual experiences. So it is recommended to share with somebody that you can confide in and who can understand that particular feeling that one has in the heart. That is why that is one of the things that is mentioned, that one should reveal the heart to a qualified Vaishnava. And that's exactly what happened in Vraj. Even the 6 Goswamis, when they spoke, they didn't speak to the general public about their personal rasic experiences. Uh, they would speak to each other, like Rup Goswami would speak to Sanatan Goswami. Hey Sanatan, I had this spiritual vision. I want to share this with you. And then Sanatan Goswami would confirm, yes, it is Radharani who came to you. Especially in Ter Kadam, that Kheer Leela that happened, where one very beautiful girl comes, and Rup Goswami in the middle of the forest didn't have any ingredients and he wanted to serve his Thakurji. So he was thinking that I wish I had some nice ingredients so that I can serve some nice bhoga. So at that time, one very beautiful little girl came. Young girl says, "Baba, I have brought some flour, I have brought some uh, sugar, I have brought some saffron, I have brought some cardamom. Please take it and make something." So then, after she left, he was wondering, who is she? Who is she? And then he revealed his heart to Sanatan Goswami. And Sanatan Goswami said, this was none other than Srimati Radharani who came to fulfill your desire. So, anyway, so coming back to Chitralekha and Usha, she revealed her heart and she told her everything. And hearing Usha's dream lover, Chitralekha started drawing pictures and of different Gandharvas. Gandharvas are those entities that they live in the different higher heavenly planets. They are very beautiful and they also sing very nicely. So she was good and expert. Uh, in verse number 16, especially in the purport, is mentioned what does Chitralekha mean? Chitralekha means one who is an expert in writing or drawing. That is one of the names, the Chitralekha. One of the Ashta Sakhis of Radharani, her name is also Chitralekha. And what is her seva? It is said that among so many other sevas, she plays excellent musical instruments. She is a very good cook. But one of the best, one of the most expertise that she had is speaking in different languages and writing. Therefore, she was aptly called Chitralekha. One of the Ashta Sakhis, the most dear Sakhis of Radharani. So, like that, she started drawing, and then she also drew some of the personalities from the Vrishni dynasty. Vrishni dynasty is Krishna, Vasudev's dynasty, right? From King Vrishni. And then Chitralekha asked her if you can identify any of these pictures. Uh, just like, nowadays we find that somebody who has witnessed a crime and they take the witness to the police station, and then the expert uh, person who can draw, they draw several figures based on the description, and then they actually catch the person. So they're so good, just by hearing the description they can draw, the expert artist. So then Usha pointed out to one particular drawing, and that was none other than Aniruddha. Uh, Chitralekha had mystic powers. She was endowed with that. And this was none other than Lord Krishna's grandson, Aniruddha. So, if Krishna's grandson is Aniruddha, so who is Aniruddha's father? Pradyumna. So, we all know that Pradyumna is the son of Rukmini and Krishna in Dwarka. Uh, and Pradyumna is also known as Kamdev or Ananga. Those who are second initiated, how many of you are second initiated here? Okay. So the seventh Gayatri. I cannot say it, but you can meditate on it very briefly. And there, that meditation is on Ananga, who is none other than the expansion of Krishna, who fulfills everybody's desires. Uh, and those desires are not material desires, especially in the Gaudiya line. The meaning of the seventh verse is that it fulfills the transcendental desires of the devotee's heart. Therefore, I meditate upon Kamdev or Ananga, who will fulfill my transcendental desires in Vraj, especially in Vraj. In a very nutshell, that is the meaning of the seventh verse of the seventh Gayatri mantra. So, the son of Pradyumna is Aniruddha. And we also see that in Golok Vrindavan, the creation, how does it take place? Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, or Kishore Krishna, the original supreme personality of Godhead, who is also addressed as Govindam Adi Purusham, right, by Lord Brahma. He actually expands simultaneously on his right, Lord Balram, on his left, Srimati Radharani. Lord Balram is his Sandhini Shakti, he himself is the Samvit Shakti, and Radharani is the Haladini Shakti. From Lord Balram, there are two quadruple expansions of Chaturvyus. And who are those personalities? Vasudev, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshan. That first quadruple expansion, they are the deities or the predominating deities in Mathura. Mathura planet. This is in the spiritual world. And then the second quadruple expansion happens from the Sankarshan of the first one, And again another Vasudev, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshan, also known as Mahasankarshan, appear, and they are in Dwarka. And then from Mahasankarshan, all the different personalities and the expansions happen. The different avatars, etc. The Guna avatars, the different Dasa avatars, the three Vishnus. So they are all. So actually, Lord Balram is the source of all. Uh, Vrajendra Nandan, he doesn't take a step outside Vrindavan. Ekam padam na gacchati. So Lord Balram is non-different from Krishna in potency. He is Swayam Prakash. And he actually helps in Krishna's desire for the spiritual world's creations and the material creations by expanding into different personalities. So this Aniruddha was the son of Pradyumna and Rukmavati. Rukmavati is the name of Aniruddha's mother. And their son, Vajranam, was the son of Aniruddha. Just mentioning, Vajranam is a very, very important personality who is the great grandson of Krishna. We are talking about Krishna's family here. And sometimes it's good to discuss it because Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Ashiya Prapanche Jivera Karane Leela Koile Shubhistar. In that bhajan, Gopinath Mama Nivedana Shuno. So he comes, Krishna comes along with his associates for the benefit of mankind. Ashiya Prapanche Jivera Karane. For uplifting the souls who have fallen in this material world. So when we talk or when we hear about Krishna's pastimes, his associates, he becomes very pleased. Actually, when we just say any other names, Sanatana Goswami has explained in one of his Digdarshani of the Hari Bhakti Vilas that there are two kinds of names of the Lord. One is known as Gauniya Nam and the other one is known as Pramukh Nam. What is Gauniya Nam? Gauniya Nam is those that are like, for example, when we say, O Bhagwan, He Paramatma, He Ishwar, etc. But there is Mukhya Nam. Mukhya Nam is He Kishore, He Shyam Sundar, He Govinda. So, He Yashoda Nandan, He Nanda Nandan, He Radhanath. So then his eyes widen. His smile widens. You know my mother's name. You know my father's name. You know my son, Pradyumna. You know my grandson, Aniruddha. You know my great grandson, Vajrana. Even in a more practical experience, supposing if you're walking on the street, this generally happens in India, and suddenly someone will stop you. Hey, aren't you the son of such and such? And immediately, even don't know that person, a smile comes. Yes, yes, I am the son of this person. How do you know my father? So a pleasantness happens. Similarly, Krishna is extremely pleased when that is why Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Gitavali, we sing Jai Radha Madhav, that is composed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. They're all names of Krishna in that. Daso Vimshottara Nama, 20 names of Krishna. Like that, he has composed so many different songs just with names of Krishna. Even the Mangal Arati that is being sung in Vrindavan. If you look, Vibhavari Sesha Aloka Pravesha Nidra Chadi Utha Jiva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Hari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Narsinga Vamana Sri Madhusudana. Like that, so many names of the Lord, Mukhyanam, he speaks to please Krishna. So Vajranam was one of the very, very parakrami, very, very amazing great grandson of Krishna, who he actually is the one who had asked sculptors to sculpt the deities of his great grandfather by asking his grandmothers, how did my great grandfather look? And by just describing. So, for example, one of the so many prominent deities in Raj, like Govind Devji, etc., like Gopalji or Srinathji, many of them, they all were ordered, sculpted by Vajranab. Vajranab, the great grandson of Krishna, by hearing from their grandmothers. So it is said that when you take the darshan of Radha Raman, so Gopinathji also, originally Vajranab was responsible. Govind Devji also, and Madan Mohanji also, and Srinathji or Gopalji. So it is said that he would ask his all his great grandmothers and even grandmothers who had actually taken darshan of Krishna, how was my great grandfather's lotus face? How were his eyes? How was his eyebrows? How were his lips? How was his neck? His chest? And they all gave beautiful descriptions. And then based on that, he would describe it to the sculptor. And then they would sculpt those deities. So, example, Radha Ramanji, it is said that he has the lotus face of Madan Mohan, and his chest is that of Govind Devji, and his lotus feet are that of Gopinath. I'm sorry, it's the other way around. The lotus face is Gopinath, the chest is Govind Devji, and Madan Mohanji is his lotus feet. They're exactly like that. If you look at the deities nicely, that's what they are. And that's the inspiration came from Vajranab. And it is later on they got manifested to the great acharyas. Like Gopalji or Srinathji was manifest to who? In Govardhan? Madhvendra Uripad, the Param Gurudev of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Gurudev is Ishwar Puripad, and Ishwar Puripad's Gurudev is Madhvendra Puripad. He is also the Guru of Lord Nityananda. He is also the Guru of Advaita Acharya. Great personalities, Madhvendra Puri, and it is to him Srinathji, which is worshipped in Nathdwara today very nicely by the Pushti Margis, the Sampradaya of Sri Vallabh Sampradaya, Vallabhacharya. So, like this, so Vajranath was the son and son of Aniruddha. Uh, Chitraleka used all her mystic powers, and then what she did is she found Aniruddha. As promised, she brought her back to Usha in a place which is the kingdom of Banasura, where she was staying, known as Sonitapura. And and then uh, there she presented her that gift to her friend Usha. Now, one of the things that come to my heart when somebody wants something so badly, right, and it is almost impossible to get it, and if somebody who cares for you or loves you brings it to you, can you imagine the joy that person can get? And the reason why I'm saying is Rath Yatra season is going on. Just a little connection here. What is the significance of the chariot being taken? Where are we taking Lord Jagannath, Baldev, and Subhadra Devi? Why are their eyes so big? Why are their jaws dropping? Why are they completely stuck there like a statue? Completely when you get some very excellent or super excellent news or very super excellent bad news, what happens? The jaw drops. You can't speak. The eyes widen. True or wrong? Practical experience, we find that. So when we take Lord Dwarkadish from Dwarka to Vrindavan, where he wants to really be, that's his wildest and the best dream that he has sitting in Dwarka. He wants to go back to Vrindavan. And that is why those devotees who take part in the Rath Yatra pull that rope just like the gopis. Come back, my dear Lord. Come back. Vrindavan is waiting for you. And that ecstasy itself of Raj. that's Vraj written on their faces. The astonishment, the excitement, where they are lost. No words can describe it. And if somebody takes you to a place where you want to be, then how happy will you be, and what kind of blessings one will receive if such a gift is bestowed. And that is why actually we are assisting the Lord of Dwarka to go back to Vrindavan. And that is why he is going to be so pleased on everyone that anyone who participates, it is said, in Rath Yatra will get Krishna Prem in Vraja. It is a promise, sooner or later. So, like this, when Aniruddha was brought to her, she actually hid him in her inner chambers where no men can come. Huh? And then obviously, there was a lot of romance. But when the maid servants saw the romance and signs of romance on the body of Usha, they reported it to the father, Banasura. And Banasura became extremely upset and came into the room of Usha and saw Aniruddha. And Aniruddha was arrested immediately. And then at that time, when Krishna came to know, Krishna, he went to ensued a huge battle to save his grandson Aniruddha from the clutches of Banasur. And at that time, Lord Shiva, he was actually helping, because he was on the side of Banasur. Some of the leelas are such that to enhance the leela of the Lord, sometimes even devotees like Lord Shiva, they go in the opposite camp. Just like Bhishma Dev, he is a pure devotee, but he was in the opposite camp. Why? To enhance Krishna's virya rasa, the rush of chivalry. Somebody has to give that a push. Somebody has to enhance that. So that is also a service to Krishna by being on the side of Banasur. And when Krishna, he completely destroyed all the demons and all, Banasur was about to be destroyed, Lord Shiva said, please spare him, he is my devotee. He is my devotee. And Lord Krishna spared him. Why? Now one may think, if you think a little deeply, not only because it was the request of Lord Shiva, who is Banasur? He falls in the line of Prahlad Maharaj. And what did Lord Nrsingadev say? 21 generations in the past and 21 in the future, they will all get liberated. So, it is impossible to understand the Leela of the Lord. It is unimaginable that why he acts in a certain way, why he inspired Usha in her dreams to have Aniruddha, and how Aniruddha got arrested, and then there's a battle, and how Lord Shiva requested him spare him, and how he was spared, and the connection with Prahlad Maharaj and the promise that Lord Nrsingadev had given. All the dots get connected. So King Parikshit is asking in this particular two verses that, oh, best of the Yadus, uh, um, finally they got married, Banasura, his daughter Usha, and Aniruddha, after there was a fearsome battle that occurred between Krishna and Mahadev, right? Because Mahadev was the leading protector, because he had already promised. If you remember, he said that because of playing those musical instruments non-stop, he said, I will give you a benediction. And what was his benediction he asked for? Become my guardian. Just like Bhishma Dev had promised that he will become a guardian of Hastinapur. So that is why he could not, no matter how bad or how good the situation is, he had to protect Duryodhan and Hastinapur because of his ardent promise. And that is the reason Lord Shiva had taken part in that battle against Krishna. So, in verse 15, we find that uh, the separation point is being brought here. That in a dream, She is meeting Aniruddha, the Lord of her life, her lover, and he disappears. And what is the word that they're using here? In particular, in this 15th verse, the last verse is known as Vraja na Arnave. Vraja na Arnave. Meaning the ocean of distress. So when a devotee has separation from Krishna, then they feel like that. Our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, there are many Vaishnava Sampradayas, bona fide. If you go to Vrindavan, there are so many Sampradayas there, and they're all bona fide. But what is the key difference, the outstanding difference between the Gaudiya Vaishnavas and the other bona fide Vaishnava Sampradayas? Anybody would like to highlight this quickly? What is the key difference? All the Vaishnavas, they worship Krishna. They, even in the Madhurya Rasa, many different sampradayas, like the Sri Vallabh Sampradaya in Vrindavan, they are also in Gopi Bhav and Madhurya Rasa. It's just not our sampradaya is in Madhurya Rasa. Yes. 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 Vipralamba Bhav. That Vipralamba Bhav, service and separation to the highest extent, is only found in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Huh? Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 12 years in the Gambhira, what did he do? It was service and separation, finding Krishna in the mood of Radha. Where are you, O Krishna? Where are you? He constantly chanted day and night, in like a crazy man in separation. Because he had obtained the mood of Sri Radha. Actually, Radharani said that no, 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 no. When he decided to come from Golok, he says, I would like to teach my own bhakti. Give them I spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjun. He was fortunate that I spoke to him and he understood. But what about all the souls who are in this material world? I would like to teach my own bhakti to them. I'm going. Radharani said, you're not going alone. That is why she said, you know what? You want my bhav? You really want it? Once you get it, you're going to be crazy. You don't know what you're going to do to yourself. You'll be rolling on the ground. You'll be walking on the thorns. You'll be rubbing your cheeks on the walls till blood oozes. And that's what happened in the Gambhira. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while chanting the Mahamantra, he rubbed his cheek on the Gambhira walls. Blood used to ooze. Sarup Damodar Goswami, Rai Ramanand, they used to come and stop Mahaprabhu, 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 wake up from your ecstasy. And they would find blood on one side of the cheek where he was rubbing and chanting the Mahamantra in separation. And that is why Jagannath Puri is known as Viyogini Radha Kshetra. It is known as Viyogini Radha Kshetra. Radharani feels the highest separation in the Gambhira in Jagannath Puri. And also Krishna, as Lord Jagannath, feels the highest separation of Radharani and Vraj. And this has been highlighted by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers like Rupa Goswami, Srimad. Prior to that, it was only in Aishwarya Bhav before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, because Lord Jagannath appeared in some Satya Yuga. It has been mentioned in the Purans. Right? But it was all in Vaikuntha Bhav. There was no Madhurya Rasa, there is no Vraj Ras, nothing. But it is by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it was revealed. And especially the separation. That is one of the reasons we find that some of the greatest personalities in our Gaudiya Sampradaya, they made it their home. Thakur Bhakti Vinod made it his home there in Narayan Chat, about half a kilometer from the Jagannath temple. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada appeared in the Viyogini Radha Kshetra. Why? To serve her when she is in separation, that mood. To serve Mahaprabhu. Because Mahaprabhu in his highest ecstasy is Krishna, but in the mood of Sri Radha. He's not Krishna anymore. He's crying for Krishna. Just like Radharani or the gopis are crying for Krishna in Gopi Geet. Oh Krishna, where are you? They are hankering for Krishna. Their hearts That Gopi Gita is what? It's the outpouring of separation. Jayati tedhikam janmana vraja shrayata indira shashvadatrahi daita drishyata dikshutavakas taidrita savas tam vichinvate. In the all the verses, there's so much separation in this verse. You have taken our life air away. Oh Krishna, where are you? Toi drita savas, asavas. The life air. What is life air? It's the prana. When the prana, there are 5 life airs, and especially the 5th one, which is known as prana. When it leaves the body is pronounced dead. That means at that time, the Atma, Paramatma, and the life air known as prana, they all live together. So the gopis are saying, Toi Dhritasavas, Tam Vichinvate, where are you, O Krishna? You have taken our life air. We are crying for you. So much separation. That is Viyogini Radha Kshetrasi Jagannath Puri. Everybody wants to go to Vrindavan. But some of the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he spent his last days before he left his body in Chatak Parvat, which is none other than the representation of Govardhan in Jagannath Puri. Why? Because he is Daitaya Vrishabhanu Dasi. In Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra, what is it? He says, Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Ti Namine Sri Varsha Bhanvi Devi Daitaya Kripa Abdaye. That was his initiated name when he got the Diksha from Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj. They knew who each other are. What is the name he gave? Very long name. Sri Varsha Bhanvi Devi is Srimati Radharani. Daitaya Das. Daitaya means dearmost. Das means, or Dasi, dearmost servant. As Nayana Manjari. So this is an amazing connection. Separation is what we need to feel. If we are chanting the holy names and we don't feel the separation, just like Mahaprabhu is mentioning in the 7th verse. What is the 7th verse of the Chaitanya Sistastakam? Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravashaitam shunaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahename. In separation of Krishna, this every moment seems to be like millenniums. And this whole world is empty. Do we feel that emptiness? That is what we need to prepare ourselves for that kind of Krishna Prem, where we feel empty from inside, no taste for anything in this world. That is what the power of the holy name is when we chant offenselessly and we pray fervently to Sri Harinam. Please give this to me because I am in Mahaprabhu's line. This is what my Mahaprabhu wants. Separation in service. That is what Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale. He came from Golok Vrindavan to Bhutale. Very comfortably situated in the service of Radha Krishna and the rest of the associates. But Krishna said, Radharani said, go, save those souls. Without questioning. Leaving Golok Vrindavan in the actual association of Radha Krishna, but service in separation. Not for a moment he was separate from Radha Krishna. Not even for even a nimesh. Nimesh is like the blinking of an eye. The time, delineation, like we say second, minutes, hours. Nimeshardhakhyo va vrajati hyatrapi na samaya. That is Srila Prabhupada. That is what our Gaudiya lines, Vaishnavas, Chada Goswamis, Jagannath Maharaj, Gaur Kishoras Babaji Maharaj, Bhakti Vinod Thakur ji. Nama Gaur Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murte Vipralambar Sambode Padam Bhujayate Namaha. I offer my obeisances to Srila Gaurkishore Babaji Maharaj, who is the ocean, Vipralamba Rasambudhi, the ocean of the rasa or the mellows, serving in separation. So that is something that we can take home from this, although there was no purport, but this is something that came to my as a realization about the separation that one, because Aniruddha is not different from Krishna. All the potencies are there. Uh, So, and then obviously we find that someone may question that this illicit thoughts came to her. How is that possible? Isn't that against the Vedic culture, etc.? So, yes, the Vedic culture has got maryada that we have to. That is why Srila Prabhupada, he just did not dream that the four regulative principles. Every initiation, our respective spiritual masters ask us this very important questions. Please recite the four regulative principles. What are they? No meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, and no intoxication. So it is not that Prabhupada just dreamt of it. Prabhupada is as it is in the parampara. Striyam dutam panam shunam yatra dharma chaturvida. There is a shloka in the Mahabharata. Striyam means illicit sex, having affairs with the opposite sex. Dutam, gambling. Panam means meat eating. No, panam means intoxication. And shunam means meat eating. Yatra, these. Adharma. They are against the principles of religion. Chaturveda, these four. So one may think that how come? But we are sadhaks. We are not beyond that level where when we are doing sadhana bhakti, there are rules and regulations. And once we follow them strictly, then we can enter into Raganuga bhakti. So her bhava was Raganuga bhakti or Rag Atmika bhakti, Usha's bhav. So there no rules and regulations really apply. Law is applied to the social order, but pure devotion is beyond law. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Shripad Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, one of the senior god brothers of Srila Prabhupada, he mentioned this. Love is beyond law. Love is beyond law. So, the law says to the gopis, Krishna himself tells the gopis in the middle of the night when he plays the flute, Vipina Mahu Murali Hata Saji, Navala Kishora, Navala Manamohana, Navala Swara Vamshi Vaji, Klim Shrim, Bija Prema Ko Vardak, Sagara Gopi Bhagachali. In the middle of the night, Krishna is playing the flute and gopis leave their homes and out of deep love for Krishna, for the amorous love. And when they come to the forest, Krishna says, what are you doing? It's the middle of the night. I am a brahmachari. You are coming to see me. What will happen if they find out the social order, the law of society? They will curse you. Jatila, Kutila, your mother-in-law, Radha, go back. Kutila, your sister-in-law, she will not spare you. If your husbands, irrespective husbands wake up, what will happen? Love is beyond law. That is the principle of Krishna Prema. That's okay. If we will become bad names in the society, but that's okay. Krishna, we love you. We're not going back. We don't want to go back. Krishna is testing them. Vipralamba bhav or the bhava of separation is a very huge test. It's the highest litmus test for the devotee, and if one who passes that, Krishna is completely controlled by them. Just like the gopis were able to control Krishna, and the control that Radharani has, it's unparalleled on Krishna. Therefore, in Vaikuntha, Krishna is known as, or Narayan or his expansion are known as Bhakta Vatsal. But in Golok or in Vraj, he is known as Bhakta Vashya. He is under the full control of his devotee. So pure devotion is beyond love. That's the realm that we can aspire from for one day. Even at the expense of me, being cursed, getting a bad name, but no, Krishna, for you. Like Naradji told them, the gopis, when he went, can you give me the dust of your lotus feet? All the doctors have failed in Dwarka. Krishna has a headache or a stomach ache. You know that Leela, right? And Rukmini, Satyabhama, Jamvati, all the queens, they were asked. Krishna himself says this is the solution because they could not find a solution. If some of you devotees give me the dust of your feet, I will take it and I will become healthy. So Naraji said, what's the big deal? There's Rukmaniji. Come forward. Give the dust of your feet. Oh, how can I do that? He's my Swami. I will go to hell. Everybody in Dwarka backed off. Then Krishna says, Naradji, go to Vraj. And when he goes to Vraj, all the gopis just hearing about Krishna's hell, they faint, most of them. And then they are revived. They say, what happened? But Dwarka is a big city. They have got big doctors. No, what is the solution? But there is a solution. That's why I'm here. If you all can give the dust of your feet, Krishna says he will take it and it will relieve him of his problem. All the gopis, they started scratching their soles, some with their bangles, bracelets, and they started gathering that in their upper cloth and said, take it. Naradji said, you're not afraid? You will go to hell? He is the Lord. You're going to give him this dust? He says, if this is going to give a cure to our dear Krishna, we don't mind going to hell for eternity. And that is the difference between the love of Raj and other spiritual areas like Mathura, Dwarka, Vaikuntha, etc. Because there comes a point in Ragatmika Bhakti or Raganuka Bhakti which is beyond law. Beyond law. Ramananda Rai, and I will conclude, Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a wonderful conversation. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter number 8, I think. In that, Mahaprabhu asked, please tell us what is the highest goal of life. And you have to tell me by giving me evidence from the Shastras. You have to support it with shlokas. So if you go outside and ask people what is the highest goal of life and support it with Shastra, how many people can give? But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being such an ardent sannyasi, and also he displayed how to become a sadhak and how also to attain Raganuga Bhakti. He asked Ramananda. Ramananda Rai says, I know who you are. Why are you asking me? You know all the answers, but no, I would like to. And of course, our acharyas have a comment that this is to glorify Ramananda Rai. He requests him. And Ramananda Rai is replying to the questions of Mahaprabhu for his pleasure. Not that I am a big scholar and I know everything. So there is a difference there. To please, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had this beautiful habit. Whenever some devotees used to visit him, some exalted devotees, Mahaprabhu would ask questions and he would expect answers from them. Like Raghupati Upadhyay. One name comes to my mind. Like that. So he says, what is the highest goal? So he says, he starts with Varnashram Dharma. The 4 social orders and the 4 ashrams. Right? So he says, Iha Bahya. This is external. Tell me more. He speaks from the Bhagavad Gita. He says that whatever you do, you offer to me. Yat karoshi yad asnasi. He speaks that verse. He says, Iha Bahya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejects that. This is external. Tell me more. Now, if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that whatever you do, you offer, why that is because it's on the sadhana level, it is not on the spontaneous, on the rupanugala, on the ragatmika or the spontaneous mellow. Why? Because we offer so that we can get rid of karmic reactions, so that we don't get karmic reactions. Most of our offering is not for the pleasure of Krishna. So that we are told that we offer to Krishna and then we take it as prasadam, so that it is bereft of karma. You see the difference? Why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected that? He even goes further, says, quotes the verse, Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma na sochati na kakshri sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labhyate param. That also he rejects. Why? Because there is the Brahma Bhuta. There is some connotation of Mayavadism that can permeate into that sloka. He wanted clear-cut answers. He even quoted Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja, that most famous 18.66. He says, Iho Bahya, this is also external. And most of us think that that is the highest. Why? Because in their Ma Sutra, the last two words, do not fear. Arjuna had to be assured, do not fear. Whereas the Grudge Gopis and the Rajvasis don't have to be assured. They will do as Krishna says or whatever Krishna wants to please them. Here Krishna had to speak the entire Gita. Oh, I will incur karmic reaction. It's better to take a water pot and become a hermit and go beg in the jungle instead of killing all my relatives and my grandsire Bhishma Pitama and my guru. No, 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 no. And ultimately, even after hearing the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, don't worry. He had to be assured. So that means that Vraj Bhakti is not there. That element of pure devotion, which is Aradhya Bhagwan Vrajesha Tanes Taddham Vrindavana Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Taya Kalpita. Following in the footsteps of the Vrajvadus, the gopis. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to hear. Because all that falls within the law. Even Sarva Dharman Parityaja falls within the law. And love of pure devotion of Krishna is beyond law. And then finally, when he comes to the conclusion and he speaks about Dasyaras, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's smile widens. Finally, he speaks about Madhurya Rasa. He's even more happy. And finally, in Madhurya Rasa, he speaks about Radharani. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes into ecstasy, and when he's going to describe even more esoteric and more amorous details, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu shuts his mouth. So this is the point here. The conclusion is that we find that even that Krishnadas says, Jaya Jaya Ujjvala Rasa Sarva Rasa Sar Parkiya Bhave Jaha Vrajeta Prachar Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jaya Vrindavana. In that bhajan, Jai Jai Ujjvala Rasa, the highest. Ujjvala Rasa means the Madhurya Rasa. Sarva Rasa Sar, it is the essence of all the mellows. Parkiya Bhave Jaha Vrajeta Prachar. Parkiya Bhav, that's what Usha had. We can say that. It was Parkiya Ras, thinking, not married, thinking of another man in one sense. So the gopis in the Vraj are also like that. So there is a semblance here, not exactly the Parkiya Ras of Vraj, but we can get an idea what separation is, what pure devotees are beyond law, and we should never imitate them. And our goal should be Raganuga Bhakti eventually for his pleasure, for the pleasure of Shishi Kishore Kishori. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada, Gaudiya Guru Varki Jai. Is there any questions, comments, quickly, maybe a minute? Yeah? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes?
Thank you so much for your discussion. It's a very detailed topic of mood of separation. And I was reading recently that what human beings crave more than anything else is connection. Connection with other people, connection with God. And when that connection need is not fulfilled, at that time, all the sinful tendencies or all, all the negative things, negative emotions take over. But and so there is a constant need to find connection with Krishna, and There was also this book written by Urmila Mata. It's called Krishna Meditations, in which it talks about how to find Krishna in every circumstance. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that, of all the sounds, I am Om, I am the taste of water. So finding Krishna in everything. So it's interesting. I want to understand, Prabhu, how is it at the same time we can find connection with Krishna, but to enhance our connection more and more, we feel separation also. How does that both work
Very,
together?
very nice question. So, how can we find Krishna everywhere in our practical experience? How can we feel the connection? So, the best process is chanting the holy name sincerely, because the holy name is Nama Chintamani Sri Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Nitya Shuddha Nitya Mukto Abhinnatvam Namna Namino. When we chant the Mahamantra, how many of us we actually feel that we are associating with Krishna, with his internal associates? That consciousness has to be developed, reminding the mind a million times. Chanting sincerely will bring us to that level. We will see Krishna everywhere. Like you just mentioned, Rasoham Apso Kaunteya. Krishna is the taste in the water. Wherever we see, any entity we see, whether it's an ant or a human being, he is present in their hearts. And they're all expansions of Krishna, marginal energies of Krishna. That's what the verse Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma means. One who is situated on their self realized status is always extremely in bliss, never hankers after anything, na shochati na kankshati, never laments after anything. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu, looks upon everybody equally. Mad bhakti labbhate param. And they obtain the highest bhakti. So, that is why Srila Prabhupada, whether we have just started our Krishna consciousness life, or even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, has taken shelter of the Mahamantra. It's so powerful. Can you imagine? Nanda Nandan Krishna himself is chanting the Mahamantra. 12 years in the Gambhira to obtain what he wanted. He wanted the bhav of Sri Radha. And what is the Mahamantra? It is like a kalpa vriksha, Nama Chintamani. The word Chintamani means whatever you think, whatever you desire, it will grant you. So we need not go any further. But in order to enhance our chanting, it's important to read His Divine Grace's books. It is important to hear as it is from Vaishnavas who speak in the line of Srila Prabhupada, in the line of Rupa Goswami. Very important. All these activities, serving the Vaishnavas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave a very wonderful formula. 5 things. Chant the holy names, read books like Srimad Bhagavatam, always, if you are at home or wherever you are, have your deities or a picture of Krishna and serve it. Archa Vigraha. Whenever one has time, one should go to the tirthas, go to the holy places and associate with sadhus. And what's the fifth one? The fifth one is hearing Krishna's pastimes. So it's an all round process. And when we do these things, it will enhance our chanting. All what we do, all these activities in Krishna consciousness, whether one is serving a Vaishnava, whether one is going to the holy places, whether one is hearing Harikatha, the ultimate goal is to purify our chanting, come to the Shuddha Nam platform. Because once one comes to the Shuddha Nam platform, then one is able to associate directly with Krishna and Krishna's internal associates. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. Nija means my own. And what is Nija when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying? It's the Vrajvasis. So the word Hara, actually most of us we understand it in a general way. It is the topmost internal energy of Krishna, Radharani. No, not necessarily. Jiva Goswami has explained Hara means all her, not only her, but all her associates, all the Vrajvasis, all our acharyas are present as the internal potency of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The word Hara, the Manjaris, the Gopis, and Radharani. Otherwise, why is the Mahamantra not called Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Radhe? Why? Because Radharani herself wants all of her associates included in the word Hara. If we just meditate on that word Hare, which is the addressing, when you address somebody in Sanskrit, Hara becomes Hare. We are addressing, we are taking the actual blessings of the entire Guru Parampara and it goes to the lotus feet of Sri Radha. So it's the consciousness, how to develop and mature in our chanting. Because chanting the holy names is a very deep ocean, the Mahamantra. There is no bottom to it. Many acharyas have given so many deep commentaries and they keep giving and they keep revealing. There is no bottom. It is so deep. But depends on the realization of the individual who is chanting the holy names. And once one chants on some level of purity, one will see Krishna everywhere. Like Srila Prabhupada. And many devotees who are pure. So I hope that answers your question. Our main problem is our chanting has to improve. If it doesn't improve, we will not get that rasa. Srila Prabhupada is amazingly very witty and very smart. He used the words back to Godhead. Did he not? Quite often. Even the magazine is called Back to Godhead. Think about it. Why did he not say back to Golok? Why did he not say back to Golok? Because if we are going to be chanting and performing our activities on a sadhak level, the maximum we will get is Godhead in Vaikuntha when we leave our body. We will not get Vrindavan. Krishna has also said that in the Bhagavad Gita, Manushya Nam Sahasrasu Kaschit Yatati Siddhaye. Siddhi means the Siddhi of, as far as Mahaprabhu is concerned, the Siddhi of Golok Vrindavan, of Raj Bhakti. So, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. So I hope I was able to answer